be too much. Uh, it won't be too much of an issue. So, okay, where was I? So, what is 3D printing? I was saying the process. 3D printing is the process of making a physical object from a three-dimensional digital model, typically by laying down many successive thin layers of material. What I, like I was saying, this is a very technical definition. Essentially, what I've narrowed it down to mean is being able to make a 3D object um, out of something that is, virtual. So, um, when you go on a computer, you can create a 3D object, but it's a virtual object. Um, so, 3D printing allows us to create that virtual object into a tangible clone, something that you can hold. So, let's say, for example, somebody is on a computer and they design a comb, a comb, why not? They design a comb, and 3D printing allows us to make that comb a reality. Within seconds you can have, or within, a couple of minutes or hours, depending on your 3D printer and 3D printing speed, you can have that comb in your hand and, brushing through your hair. So it's pretty amazing. So 3D printing is used um, to mass produce in some occasions. Um, for the most part, people use, molds or, deductive, um, a deductive process for mass production. I'll get more into that. I'll get more into what that means later. Um, but 3D printing is more ideal for mass producing any object because 98% of raw material that is 98% of the raw material is used when you're doing a 3D printing. Let's see, it's hard to understand. Okay, so you guys say there's some background noise. Let me go ahead and give me a second while I take care of that really quickly. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I think there might be some issue with the cord on the microphone that I'm using. That's what probably is the background noise that you guys are hearing. So anyways, moving on with the presentation here. Um, okay, so how does 3D printing work? So 3D printing requires somebody to be able to have a computer-aided design software, or CAD for short. Um, and what a CAD is, it could be a very confusing term if you try to think of it as a noun. You don't download a CAD. You download a CAD software. So if try to think of it as an adjective. Remember, CAD stands for computer-aided design. So computer or CAD software, there's different types of CAD software. But the way I think about it is, um, Word is your computer-aided program for the for writing documents, much like CAD software is your programs for 3D printers or 3D prints. Sorry about that. There was noise in the background. Um, let's see. Um, okay, are you guys still having a hard time hearing me? Okay, let's see. Okay, can you guys hear me just fine? Okay. Um, okay. Looks like it's just an isolated issue. So moving on, CAD. Sorry. So the um, the way the program or your CAD software communicates with the printer is through a specific type of um, a specific type of file. When you type a document, the on Word, the file type is uh, doc, doc. Um, and in this example, when you want to do a 3D print, the 3D printer reads the .stl file, or STL is short for stereolithography, um, which is, like I said, or I'm sorry, the STL file stands for Standard Tessellation Language, which is the code or the language that the printer reads from the computer when it's getting ready to print your design. So in this picture, that rabbit is being designed in a CAD software, but that rabbit, when you save that rabbit file, you save it as a .stl, and then the 3D printer knows to read the .stl program or the .stl file, and that's how it knows what shape to make the rabbit in, or how do I print this leg here, or what do I need to maneuver here, where do I turn, that kind of thing, so that you get that rabbit at the end. So in essence, as a really quick overview, this is how 3D printing works. So you make a 3D design in a CAD software. As you can see in this picture in the background, you can kind of tell on the top white square on that computer, there's a tiger of some sort. Um, and that tiger is being was designed in a CAD program, but now is being sent to the 3D printer sitting right in front of the computer as an STL file and being printed. And as you can tell, it's being printed as a flat layer first. So, once you make the design in a CAD program, you send it to S to the computer. I mean to the printer, and the printer reads the STL file and prints it. Uh, Now, let's see. Only TV. Okay. Oh, I see what it is. Okay, looks like there's somebody in the chat who has their microphone on, and you're probably picking up their noise. So if you look on top of the chat box, there's a list of people who are in the chat, and if the microphone is blue with some red on it, just go ahead and click on that microphone, and I think it goes ahead, it goes and it mutes them, so that you won't hear that noise. So that takes care of that problem, I believe. Um, so now on to the presentation. The reason I have this orange here is because when a 3D printer prints, it doesn't print um, it doesn't print it it doesn't print the object as a whole. It's not like a mold where you can fill the mold with the material, close it, let it harden, open, and then the material. I mean, and then the printed object, or the object is completed, or or done. The way 3D printer works is by slices. The When the CAD software sends the STL file to the 3D printer, there's a software that has to slice the STL file, the STL model file, and read it slice by slice, kind of like that orange is. And essentially, the slices are stacked up against each other until it creates a full, in this case, orange. Now, these slices are very, very, very thin. They're not as thick as the slices on that orange there, but if you can imagine an object getting stacked on top of each other with with different layers or slices being a specific shape, um, then that's how a 3D printer prints. Eventually, you're going to get the shape that you want through number of slices. Um, so moving forward. Let's see, Joseph Alba, is there a CAD software available for us? Yes, and I'm actually going to get to that right now. So, 3D modeling software, there's tons of 3D modeling software out there. And here's just a couple of examples, just to name a few. There's AutoCAD, Blender, Google SketchUp, SolidWorks, 3D Crafter, and there's many more out there. I'm sure there is. But these are just a few that I know of. Now, the top two softwares, AutoCAD and Blender, are used by professionals in the professional field, as you can see in the picture to the right. The um, that's a that software I believe is Blender, and it was being used to model a vehicle. Now, 3D modeling software that's this professional will normally cost you up to $3,000 up. So it's pretty expensive, but you gotta take into consideration that the people who are using these software are more likely um, have a good paying job. They work for a car manufacturer. They're designing these vehicles, so they can pay off that $3,000 for that software easy, no problem. But we won't be using that software, so don't worry. You won't have to pay $3,000 out of pocket. And as Joseph Albert just pointed out in the chat there, we are going to be using Google SketchUp, which is our third one here. We're going to be using Google SketchUp to create the 3D printed objects for the Mobile Tech Challenge. So here's the link where you can go to download Google SketchUp. Now, when you get to the link, it'll look you'll get to a point where you see this windows here or this option, and then if you look on the first block here, it says, what do I plan to use Google SketchUp for? You want to click educational use, and you want to whenever you click on that, this other window will come up at the bottom right, I believe, um, of the website, and you want to hit the option SketchUp Make, which is the free version of Google SketchUp. There's a Google SketchUp Pro, but that one costs, I believe, um, I can't even remember, but it's definitely better to get it free than to have to pay for the program. And we're not really going to be using it to um, to we're not going to be using all the other features that are on the Google SketchUp Pro version. So you'll be able to see this video on the TTI group, so you'll be able to hit that link and go to the download website, and it's fairly simple. You just download it and you hit agree to everything, and then you install it in the area that you want. So 3D. So here's some 3D model download resources. You're going to be creating your 3D printing designs. Just you need to get your creative. Um, you need some creativity input into it. So you create your own 3D printed designs for your mobile tech. But if you want to get a good idea of what people can create and how big the community is, the 3D printing community is, or let's template this on these two websites where you can download print 3D print STL files that somebody has already created. So these communities will have tons and tons of STL files that you can go in and download, um, or if or even work off of if the creator has allowed that option. So it's or if you have a 3D printer and you want to go in and download something that they created. I know, for example, somebody created a sprinkler head that you can attach to your water hose. All you have to do is download the file, send it to your printer, and then print it, and go from there. But these are the two websites that I know of that are super popular um, with the 3D printing community as far as downloading STL files goes. Now, to reiterate, this shouldn't be used as a platform for you to go in and um, take somebody's design. It's just it's used as a platform where you can go in and grab inspiration and use what somebody has created to, kind of guide your creations, your 3D printed models. And, and like I said, if you want to use it for personal use, you can. You have that. You now have that those links there. Let's get back into some pros. Let's get into some pros and cons of 3D printing. So, 3D printing is, like I said, a very new technology, and it's something that, is growing really rapidly. But, with 3D printing, with being able to create anything you want out of any material that you want, metal, plastic. Plastic is the most common one, but you can make metal things if you want. Um, and actually, um, now that I remember correctly, you can 3D print anything out of any material that is, going to stick to each other. So here are some pros and the cons of 3D printing. Let's go through the pros first. So rapid production of hardware. So what that means is that when you 3D print an object, it is, it usually takes about 2 to 4 hours to print something, depending on size. Um, So let's say, for example, you want to print a cup, right? That's pretty simple. You want to print a cup. Usually it takes about 2 hours to print a cup, but it's, for the most part, it's a lot more precise, and it's a lot quicker than having to manufacture a lot of cups, you know, at the same time. And it also gives you the ability to, if we're going on to our next point, it gives you the ability to go from a concept to a prototype quickly. Now, what does that mean? When, let's say you have an idea here, you want to create this really cool, you have an idea for this really cool object you want to create, and you've already gone in and designed it in a 3D, in a CAD software or 3D print, modeling software. Um, um, you can go and you can go from, something that's in your head on paper, that's designed to, to a, a tangible object in, just hours, or maybe even less if you have, depending on how big your model is. Um, let's see. So it's also cost effective, and that's because you, when let's say you want a monkey wrench or something, but you don't want to go down to the grocery store and spend the money to buy a monkey wrench. Well, if you can design a monkey wrench or even download an STL file from the websites on the previous slides, if you can design a monkey wrench in the CAD software, then there's really nothing stopping you from printing it, making it, something tangible. So, I know for a fact that, well, personally, I have personally printed some cups, and, that's the cups that I use at home. When I drink water, I pour myself something, and, I have the added value of, making my own cup because, I went ahead and designed my name on the side of the cup. So now I have a cup that I didn't have to buy with my name on it, and, I get the, the added plus of knowing that I created it. That brings me to my next point, limitless design functionality. If you can think it, you can design it in your CAD software or, Google SketchUp in our instance, then you can make it happen. You can print it. You can make it a tangible thing, and that is amazing in my world, because I can't tell you the number of times that I have wanted something but not been able to get it because I just couldn't afford it, or couldn't I just couldn't find it. But with 3D printing, you have the ability to create it, print it, and have it, and it's that simple, really. Um, so let's go ahead and shift over to the negatives of 3D printing. So there's a lot of people out there who are saying 3D printing is going to change the way the world works, because um, because manufacturing is traditionally really messy. Um, I believe the statistic was that for um, every object that is made, only 30% of the raw material is used. So let's say somebody's creating a watch, they get the material that's being used to make the watch, and they start cutting away at that, like a block of metal or the aluminum, the material that they use. They start cutting away at it until it creates the design or the model that they want. But only 30% of that block that you were cutting away at was actually used for the model. The rest of the 70% is thrown away or not used. So that's typically um, really messy. But with those with the add-on of 3D printing or additive manufacturing, um, which is when you don't use. I mean, you start from nothing, you start adding the material as opposed to chipping away at it. There isn't as much of a need for giant giant assembly lines in manufacturing like that, because all you really need now is one 3D printer that'll build your parts quickly. Now keep in mind there's I know you're thinking, well, I thought you said it takes 2 to 4 hours to print something. That doesn't seem very quick. Well, there's all kinds of 3D printing. When I say 2 to 3 hours for printing, I'm referring to like small desktop printers, something that you can keep in your house, which they do sell. Um, um, but there is giant 3D printers that are a lot faster and they print out a lot more material in quicker time. Um, but unfortunately, we can, me and you, the average person at home, we can't have those because those are for manufacturers. It'd be nice to have something that prints that quick, but we can't have it, or I know for sure I can afford it. So to the next point, copyright material easily stolen. So, remember when I said you can create anything and just print it? So that means if I want to create it, if I want to create a replica of something that I want and I can't afford to buy it, um, then I can. I can copy that exact same model and do it. And there's very little that anybody can do because there's no way to trace who made it, and when they made it. You can do this in your house and um, not have to worry about breaking law or anything. Um, but that now that means that the people who are making the object that you're copying aren't getting profit from you know making it, because now you have a cheaper alternative to it. And there has been instances where people do copy some objects and put them online on those websites that I showed you a couple of slides ago. Like Google 3D Warehouse or Thingiverse. People go online and they create, hey, this is a replica of this. Download it here. Don't go buy it. And for the most part, those people get caught and they get in trouble. But it is a problem. But I'm sure with the evolution of 3D printing and with better technology, that wouldn't be an issue. Kind of like how stealing music on YouTube in the past was an issue, but now they crack down on that, those copyright infringement laws. Um, so another negative of 3D printing technology, and like I said before, it's a very limited technology, and that's due to the fact that it's a very new technology. Um, there's depending on your 3D printer, there's size limits. For the most part, most printers won't allow you to print anything that's bigger than a foot by a foot. Um, there are some 3D printers who let you print bigger objects, but space is very limited. A 3D printer can get as big as a 3D printer, like a home 3D printer, that I've seen can probably get as big as, a paper printer, like a document printer. But I have seen bigger ones. But like I said, I haven't seen any that are bigger than that. At least not the ones that are desktop. There are 3D printers, the ones that you can keep at home and buy off of websites. And the other thing is that it's very time consuming. 3D prints on a home desktop 3D printer would, like I said, will probably last or will probably need about 2 to 4 hours for you to create completely. Um, and that's not including the time that it takes for the 3D printer to heat up so that it can melt the raw material, and the time that it takes for it to cool down so that you can take the object that you made without burning yourself, because they do get pretty hot. Um, And then there's the last point, which I'm going to get into a little bit more in the next couple of slides. 3D printing has become, it has become kind of controversial. And that's because, like I said before, you can create anything you want, um, you know, however you want, whenever you want. So that brings me to my next slide. 3D printed objects, I'm going to ask the chat a question, but do you guys remember when 3D printing weapons was on the news constantly? Mm. Okay, okay, okay. Well, I mean, looks like there's a, looks like there's a lot of no's, but at some point in time, I believe it was like in 2003, there was a man who was 3D printing weapons. And these are fully functional firearms. These are firearms that, can actually shoot bullets, and, you know, with deadly accuracy. So the picture on the left is a picture of a gun he printed, which he called the Liberator. And his whole idea was that um, the government, won't have control over us. They can't have control over everything that we do. There has to be some kind of sense of freedom. He had this whole argument about protecting the Second Amendment, that kind of thing. But I encourage you to read or click on this link whenever you get to the TTI group, because there's a CNN documentary with him where he shows how he printed the weapons and how easy it was for him to just um, do it, and how easy it was for anybody to do it. So, he was eventually put to, he was eventually told to stop by the government. But it's a very interesting, um, very controversial subject. Also, like I said before, copyright infringement. In this picture here, like I was saying before, there's a monkey wrench that you can copy and 3D print by yourself if you wanted to. Um, and there's really nothing to stop you from doing it. I mean, I'm sorry, there's very little to stop you from doing it. So, that's why 3D printing has become sort of controversial. Um, so let's see, let's move forward here. So, so where is 3D printing used? Let's see. 3D printing currently is used in a lot of ways. It's used in the automotive industry, the oil and gas industry, the medical industry, and chemical companies, and the biggest one is the technology industry. Now, the picture on the top shows a picture of the center console for the Chevy, I believe the 2014 or 15 Chevy Malibu, one of those two. Uh, but that just goes to show you how effective or how useful 3D printing can go. The 3D printed center console probably cost them a fraction of what that center console on the right, or the finished product cost them. But they were able to get a feel of what it'll feel like in the car. They were able to test it out, um, and put it, you can see if the components will fit in there. Just kind of design aspects of the vehicle. That we're able to do that without having to spend a lot of money for that wood and that leather on that the shift and the handbrake and all that stuff. And the picture on the bottom shows a picture of a bottom jawbone. I believe that was printed with silicone, or like a hard silicone. So the medical industry just started start using research to experiment with 3D printing and incorporating it into the medical field. And that's kind of that's one example of how they can use it. But I know um, there's a company called Organavo, and I believe I'm saying it correctly, but they have actually you know, experimented with, creating blood vessels, veins, um, and they've actually successfully created a human, I believe it was a human kidney. Um, and that's pretty interesting. It was a working human kidney. Now, the way that it wasn't printed out of silicone or anything like that. I believe they said they were printing it with human tissue. So, you can use any material with 3D printers. For the most part, I've shown you plastic and metals, and that's probably the most common use for a 3D printer. But if you can, you can 3D print food if you wanted. You can, so long as the raw material is, it's meltable and it'll be able to, stick to each other when you're printing. Um, so that just kind of gives you an idea of how powerful a 3D printer can be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, let's see. I can't click on the video, but I don't think we'll be able to view the video without there being severe lag. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave this here, but if you want to get a quick idea of how to get a 3D print going from start to finish, there's this really nice interview here where Vice, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Vice News, Vice News and Intel, the the processor maker for computers, um, go through how the 3D print is made and how powerful it can be, and how you can take it from a design, something that's on a computer, a virtual design, or in a CAD software like that, as you can see in that picture with the woman. You can take it from being a virtual design to something that's sitting right there next to her in the desk, and that just by using the computer, that 3D printer, and the orange there, and some modeling software, the CAD software. So if you guys have any questions or anything regarding 3D print and challenge for mobile tech, feel free to communicate with me on CSTEM Break. I'm on CSTEM Break almost every day. 90% of the communications that are going to happen between teachers, trainers, and students are going to happen through CSTEM Break. Um, so, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. I'll be here through the Saturday workshops to help you, to help lead, discussions, to help lead the 3D printing design aspect of the Mobile Tech Challenge this year. Um, Stuart says it's a lot of fun, and I'm honestly looking forward to what you guys are going to create. It's it's amazing to think that a couple years from now, 3D printing or manufacturing something was only for the big manufacturing companies, but you can do it nowadays in the safety of your house, or that kind of thing. Let's see, when will the 3D design training take place? Uh, this is the 3D printing design training, but we will have Saturday workshops start um, on October 25th on the kickoff. We will be kicking off everything on this Saturday, October 25th. And then every Saturday after, we'll have Saturday workshops where we will go in depth as to how to use Google SketchUp, how to create your 3D models so that you can get them ready for printing, and that that process there. So if you haven't already signed up for CSTEM Break, just it's really simple. Just go to this website here, www or http .//cstem-break.ning.com, and on your right side of the website, you will see the it says sign up, or actually it says sign in, but underneath that it will say sign up. So just go ahead and fill out that information and sign up. You'll have somebody there approve your membership when you sign up, so you'll get that message there. And once you join CSTEM Break, just very quickly sign up for the TTI group of your school level. So there's three TTI groups. There's the 2015 TTI Elementary, 2015 TTI Middle School, and 2015 TTI High School. Just sign up for the one relative to your school level, or school level participating. If you have multiple school levels participating, just sign up for all of them, and um, communicate with me and the other trainers as well through the 2015 TTI group. We will be sending out invitations for everybody to join in the TTI group. If you have requested to join the TTI group, we will go in there and approve you as soon as possible. But so that's that. Um, Also, have your students join the CSTEM break. Um, have them come in and be a part, because really CSTEM break is a place for your students to participate and share what they are, what they're doing, how they're getting involved with CSTEM. We want to see what you guys are creating. We want to hear from you guys. We go through these teacher trainings all year, and you guys have months of preparation, but we don't, for the most part, we don't see what you guys are doing without you guys letting us know through CSTEM breaks. And it can be as simple as, hey, sending a picture like, hey, me and these guys are we're hanging out after school. We're eating pizza and working on the mobile challenge. Check it out. And we'd love to see those things. We'd love to see the involvement of students, teachers, and trainers on CSTEM break. It's you know we push you guys to share that those kind of moments on CSTEM break. So let's see. Also, if you haven't already, we do have a CSTEM mobile app that shows, that it kind of showcases what where CSTEM is, latest CSTEM news. Our newsletter goes out through the CSTEM Break app. So, anytime there's something happening in CSTEM, you'll be able to hear it first through the CSTEM Break app or the newsletter. So, you know, you know, move forward with that. So, here's just a academic pacing guide, just to give you an idea of how we're going to move forward with the Saturday workshops. The Saturday workshop, the first Saturday workshop will begin after the unveiling on Saturday, which is the 25th. And so, you can just follow this schedule here, and you will be kept up to date with the 3D printing, as well as all the other um, trainings, because every Saturday, throughout the Saturday workshops, you have all the trainers for each of the subject areas um, participate and let you, ask questions and, give you more information as to how you can be more successful for the CSTEM challenge. So, like I said, as your next steps, go ahead and sign up for CSTEM Break, and sign up for the TTI groups of regarding your school level. And as your as your next step, again, um, right now, you should go ahead and join the CSTEM the TTI groups. I'm sorry, the 2015 TTI group, so that you can finish the discussion questions regarding 3D printing, and as well as the geoscience ones from the previous session with Dr. Roy Carter. There will be 2 to 5 questions on the TTI groups that the teachers are required to answer, and these shouldn't be yes or no answers. These should be well thought out answers. Something that will spark discussion, which is why they're called discussion questions. So when you go into the TTI groups, there will be a section called discussions, and you'll be able to see the geoscience and 3D printing discussion questions in there. I look forward to seeing you guys at the kickoff, and I'm really excited to see what you guys create. Mobile tech has always been something that I enjoy as a tech guy. It's something that I have always loved, always been fascinated with. So, I'm pretty excited to see what the students create. Um, and so, I'll be here throughout the entire Saturday workshops, to help guide you guys. But if you guys have any questions at any given time, feel free to contact me. Again, my name is Orlando Benitez, and you can reach me at media@cstem.org. Um, but I mean that just about completes the Saturday. That just completes the training. I'm more than happy to take any questions now if you guys have any. Um, but again, I want to thank everybody too for attending the training here. Okay.